Hello and welcome to this week's fresh edition of The Set Piece. Myself, Robert Grieve, with me this week again, Mr. Bill Leckie. I was away last week.
You were away, you were missed.
I was missed, for me I was missed badly, frankly, watching that first edition of the new podcast that we're going to produce every week. Roger Hanna was in this chair. Back here, we're not at Bella Vita.
We're not.
The coffee club is dead and buried. You'd never even mentioned it last week. Mimo, the guys, Marco and everyone at Bella Vita.
We wanted you to do it, they're your pals.
They're a thing of the past, but we want to thank them for everything, their hospitality over the last season. But we're back in this lovely little studio.
It's quite funky, isn't it?
And it's, well, you use the word funky. I would never use the word funky. That's not a word I would use. So Rangers haven't been great. I'm not sitting here by any stretch of the imagination saying they've been great. Even in the games, in the European games that they've won and gone through, there's been elements of the game you're thinking, you know, it's not. I was in Pilsen, you know, they weren't particularly great that night. They scraped through. So I'm not sitting here by any stretch of the imagination saying everything's rosy in the Rangers' garden. But he's just in the door, right? Now, if Rangers wanted a quick fix manager, there's probably 100 of them out there, right? That's not what Rangers needed. Rangers needed someone to come in and change the culture. Now, whether he is the man to do that, time will tell. But that's the key. But time will tell.
But while
you're not going to change, sorry Bill, you're not going to change everything that's wrong with Rangers overnight.
Of course you're not.
And so, I don't think there's any chance whatsoever. People are talking, you hear it maybe more in social media, maybe in message boards about Russell Martin potentially getting sacked. That ain't happening. Rangers are not going to go down that road. Nowhere near it.
No.
He is going to be given time. Rangers spent months, as I broke the story, when was it?
February.
The day that Philip Clement was sacked, that Russell Martin was top of the list.
Yeah.
They then spent months, the American guys coming in, spent months talking to Russell Martin.
It was a long process,
They're not going to, after a month go, do you know what, we've got it badly wrong, let's go for a short-term fix, let's get Barry Ferguson back, let's get some, because that's, the guys that are walking out last night, the Rangers fans, and again, I can kind of understand it to a certain extent.
No.
Right, you're going to tell me differently, but what do they want? If they sack Russell Martin tomorrow, who are they going to go to appoint? No,
listen,
your Ancelotti guy that they were talking to, he would have needed time.
I am not arguing with you on any of the fact that the cultural stuff, the root and branch changes at Rangers. We've all written it, we've all said it. However, within that bigger picture and that massive mechanism it takes to turn the tanker around, as he said, right? He still has to set teams up for individual games that are much better than they've been so far. Every single game they've played. Right, apart from Pilsen at home, and Pilsen didn't have a shot on target, they have given up dozens of chances.
Yeah, but the way the Rangers team, when they mentioned this last night post-match, Rangers, they were saying the team were better second half, and they were better second half. Yeah. They weren't set up any differently from what they were in the first half.
But it's all right.
So that's on the players.
Yeah, but it's all right.
Guys, if I'm looking at that team, sorry.
All right.
If I'm looking
Never say sorry.
If I'm looking at that team, I think it's on the players that they're not starting the game well. You know, that their mentality isn't right from the start of the game. Now, you could argue that's on the manager to instill that and make sure
it's happening in every game.
Right. I get that to a certain extent. But again, I come back to it. It's not Russell Martin's fault, that first goal. And that first goal set the tone for the night.
It did.
You know, that's not a setup, that's not tactical, that's not instruction. Okay. That's a guy literally thinking the goalie's coming out, trying to block the forward running forward, and then a mix-up and a goal gets scored.
I'll come to the goal in a minute, right? But
that's not on Russell Martin.
No, well, okay. In his time at Southampton, they consistently lost goals along those lines, right? People not reading each other.
They lost goals and people playing through them and them giving up chances, trying to play out. That wasn't what that goal was about.
Okay, not that goal, but
or the second goal.
Generally with Rangers this season, teams are playing through them far too easily. Teams are just taking the ball off them basically on the halfway line, and they're through them in no time. And up until last night, Butland and the two centre-halves had basically saved them from a lot of hammerings. That result last night was an accident that's been waiting to happen. And it just so happens that Brugge are far better in front of goals than Panathinaikos or Pilsen or Motherwell or Dundee or Alloa.
I think if Rangers play a team that are better than them right now, they lose. I don't think they've got a gear that they can go up. I think they lose the game.
So if that's the case,
because it's going to take the manager time to implement. Now, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to get endless amount of time. No manager does, but I think it's fairly realistic to expect, given the culture that's been at Rangers and in that dressing room for a long time now, and Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann and Billy Dodds have all spoken about it individually since they've left the place.
Yeah.
The mentality of that dressing room isn't right. That's not going to change like that.
It's not, but and again, I totally agree with that. But at the same time, if we can see that, surely he can see that, and so you get into individual games, and surely you have to be trying to change the way things are set up, the way that. Look at your weaknesses, look at your failings, and say, how do I get around that? How do I stop Bruges doing to us again what they did a month ago? And they're not doing it because they're making all the same mistakes.
I don't think the mistakes they made last night were the mistakes that they have been making.
They're not carbon copy goals, but it's lack of communication. I think there's lack of awareness of who's meant to be where.
I think if I was a Rangers fan, the thing that would annoy me about these players individually and collectively, I mean, Russell Martin, one of the things I would pick up on, he spoke after the game about how proud he was in the second half performance. That would annoy me as a Rangers fan, because that's something they have heard time and time again from various managers when they're two down,
very proud to get a consolation goal.
We fought back, and it was great character and resilience. That would drive me nuts, because it's easy to play when you're 2 or 3-0 down.
Yeah.
It's easy to then show a bit of character and run harder and chase things, and it's too late by that point,
And that's why I'm saying, when you're saying, well, he didn't, the setup didn't change for the second half, you're right, and he didn't make any changes at half time. When like pundits on TV are saying he needs to make a couple of changes, he didn't do it. That's fine. He sends them back as I say, you've got us into this mess, get us out of that mess. I don't think that's enough. I don't think he can, as a manager, continue to be putting out teams who then have to chase games.
Yeah, listen, don't get me wrong, the way his team are playing right now has him under pressure. As I said at the start, I don't think under pressure for his job. I don't think there's a world out there where Russell Martin gets sacked anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
Right, that said, if they don't win against St Mirren at the weekend, in a game that they were not wanting to play, they do want to play. So you have guys in that St Mirren dressing room, I would assume, are sitting there going,
they don't want to play.
No, they fancy us now, do they? No, they're happy to play now.
Aye.
So, do you know what? I think that's a really, really difficult game for Russell Martin at the weekend, and for Rangers at the weekend, and arguably a bigger game than the second leg against Bruges. Rangers are going to be in the Europa League.
Yeah. Which is better for them anyway.
Which arguably is a better kind of place for them to be playing their football. They can't afford to drop any more points in the league. And I think with an Old Firm game the following week, Celtic are going to Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
I'm going with them. We'll come in that in a minute.
Yeah.
Mark, you be quiet. Noising me up about going to Kazakhstan. I'll speak to him later in the week.
Well, go and do your job.
Yeah,
good noise.
Never mind that.
Job. Right.
But there's an important 10 days coming up for both teams, But I think realistically, I think St Mirren's massive for Rangers.
Well,
massive for Rangers.
Roger and I talked to us last week, and I played devil's advocate, saying, why after shouting for 20 years at the authorities to give them a break before European games do they not take it? And Roger, of course, says, because they want Giga to play his suspension game so he's free for the Old Firm game, which after last night you'd think, is that a great idea? But I think Rangers have given out an impression of being incredibly scared of their season collapsing before the end of the month, and I don't think it's a good look for them. I don't think they're showing a lot of strength on the field, and I'm not sure that the way they've handled these fixtures shows a lot of strength either.
Yeah, now you can understand them. Listen, Jigger wasn't great the other night, clearly, but you can understand them making that decision from that point of view. But it was the fact that we're not going to play it. We are going to play it. No, we never said we were going to. Look, they're clearly kind of grasping a little bit there. But I tell you what, it's a huge game for them.
It's huge.
And I think St Mirren, I've seen them a few times this season. Probably the last team that Rangers want to play against right now. In terms of the way they play, how physical they are, but by the way they play as well. Stephen Robinson's got a good thing going there in terms of St Mirren can mix it up.
Yeah,
they can both play and they can also can't handle themselves. I think that's a really difficult game for Rangers.
I was at the Cup tie against Hearts on Saturday, and I genuinely thought with the team that Derek McInnes put together, St Mirren would struggle because of the strength and depth Hearts had on the bench, etc. But the longer the game went on in extra time, St Mirren were so much stronger than Hearts. And he's brought in players over the summer who have height and weight and a bit of pace, and do you know what? it's just not the kind of team Rangers will want to play.
Yeah. Would you agree with me though that Russell Martin is going to get time, isn't he?
He is going to get time.
Guys walking out last night, and I don't know if you want to touch on that now, but if you're the guys who are in charge at Rangers and you're looking at that's not a great look, but I just can't see any world where
he gets sacked.
They get sacked. You know, this side of Christmas, even if it was to get worse before it gets better, you know, I just can't see it happening. But he is.
But he has to do better.
He has to do better. I get it. Listen, I get that. I'm just coming from a point of view that I think last night the mistakes that were made weren't all on him, you know, and I think it looked bad on him. You know, I wasn't at the game, I was watching it at home.
Absolutely.
And when you're 3-0 down after what?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, wow, you know, it looked relatively calm and cool and collected on the touchline for a guy who must have been feeling it. He must have been feeling it. But when there's guys walking out, listen, I would never do it myself.
Never walk out in your team.
I wouldn't do it myself.
Never walk out in your team.
Rangers fans, I can understand how fed up they are, you know.
I know, but they want to go and support a team that plays in League Two or in the Lowland League, and they'll see what it's like to suffer that. You know, your worst night in a Champions League qualifier, etc. Never walk out in your team ever.
You ever done it?
Never.
No, neither have I before. Never.
And I don't see any logic in it. I don't see what good it does your team. I don't understand it.
There's been a few Scotland games I felt like walking out right enough, then I remembered I've got a match support.
I know.
Halfway down the road, well, someone else can file.
Can I bring us back to the first goal? We talk about Giga, we talk about Suter, whatever. Jack Butland. Watched this last season as well when Rangers were getting caught in the break. Jack Butland's starting position, when he knows his centre halves are getting caught, isn't good enough. He never wants to come and commit, to come halfway. You watched...
it wasn't his ball to come for.
I think there have been a lot of goals Rangers have lost in that little spell last season at home where the Queen's Parks at Mullen, Motherwell, Hibs, etc., where balls getting played in behind, centre halves getting caught out, and I don't think his starting position's right. If you watch Mignolet last night, almost playing in a centre half position when the ball's at the end of the park, and he's aware and he's ready. And I think Jack Butland...
So you think that ball, when that ball's cleared up the pitch, that's for Jack Butland to come in?
No, I never said that.
So what you mean in that?
But I think there's got to be... I think he's got to have a better starting position to be aware of what might happen, because it's happened. And again, it's the repetition of the same mistakes. They've lost so many goals where centre-halves have been split too easily because the centre-halves...
So what should have been his starting position last night at that situation?
I just think he's 5 or 10 yards further at the park where it makes...
He should be further out his box?
Yeah, I think so.
No chance.
I think so.
You kidding on? No chance.
I think so.
It's got nothing to do with him being there. It's got all to do with Jigga playing or thinking it. To be fair, he looks up and he sees Butland taking a step forward as if he is coming. That's the one moment, and he thinks, oh, but his mistake is he then looks at the guy and doesn't look at the ball or Jack Butland.
Yeah.
So, but he thinks that Butland's coming out because he sees that step forward, and Butland, that's the mistake that Butland makes. Making it look in that split moment that he's coming out.
So you don't make it look as if you're doing it, you do it.
But he's not meant to be 10, 15, 20 yards further forward.
I'm not saying 20 yards, but he's got to be in a position, and I've seen it too often with Rangers, he's got to be in a position, his starting position, where he knows that his centre-halves are a little bit fragile, and he's got to be ready to make the move if he has to.
He was already probably outside his box. And I tell you what, there's another point. He stops it going 4-0. Jack Butland makes
he's a brilliant shot stopper.
Outstanding save before the end of the first half.
By the way, I'm not. Jack Butland is a great goalkeeper. He's a brilliant shot stopper.
You've faulted him quite a bit.
I have.
Yeah.
Because I think there's too many mistakes creep in.
I think he has.
By the way, seeing the Panathinaikos game, it would have been 3-0 Panathinaikos after half an hour, but for Jack Butland.
Yeah. I don't think you can. I don't disagree necessarily with what you're saying about previous mistakes he's made. We spoke about it last season quite a lot. You pinpointed it quite a bit, and I think you were absolutely bang on. And he has made mistakes this season as well. But I don't think last night was down to him. He makes that step forward, but I don't necessarily that doesn't justify your centre back basically taking himself out of the game and saying and thinking it's getting dealt with. Even if he thinks Jack Butland is going to deal with it, you still need to have a look at it and actually be aware of what's around you.
It's incredibly, it's really lazy play with Giga, really lazy. Yeah. And this is where I come back to Russell Martin. I think there's got to be a lot more drilled into defenders at Rangers. They have to be far more switched on from the first minute of the game. And I think there's a kind of feeling of, it'll be all right, it'll be fine, it'll happen.
Well,
and it's not going to happen.
do you think there's any chance whatsoever Rangers can win through next week? You in painkillers again?
Aye. So what was he said there? I'm just watching these elephants. I think
That's Gary and Mark.
I think it would be one of the most amazing results in European history if Rangers get through against Bruges.
It's not what I asked you.
Do I think we'll get through? No.
No.
I don't. I don't. I think the damage has been done. I think, by the way, I think they were very unlucky with the disallowed goal.
So they are, yeah.
I think he's got his hand on the ball, but
It's not a goal, you'll never get in it, but it's one of those ones, it's a split second thing, you know.
He's not holding the ball.
And Gasma did brilliantly.
He did really well.
To power through, and I felt actually that could have been a big moment, you know.
If it goes to 3-2, you're saying yes, they can get through because if they get the first goal in Bruges.
But still, if they get the first goal over there,
yeah.
And Russell Martin made the point. I say I was in Pills and they went hell for leather. They kind of just played with the handbrake off. Rangers can do that, and maybe that's something that will suit them a little bit better.
They've got a great record away from home.
But we're talking about a team that plays better when they're almost kind of written off. Well, they're not really getting much chance of winning through, so they can start that way, you know.
Yeah,
they're out as things stand.
I just thought the pace and sharpness that Bruges moved the ball with last night in their own half as well as in the Rangers half was too much for Rangers.
I thought they were all right. I didn't think they were absolutely
First half I thought they were tremendous.
Top-notch.
First half I thought they were really, really good.
I thought they were okay.
Second half they slackened off a bit, and I think they'll probably feel a bit as if they got away with one a little bit in the second half because of the way things went. But I thought the first half, the way they moved the ball, the way they played the ball out from the back, the speed they got through the Rangers lines, I thought was tremendous. Well, and by the way, they are not a top European side.
No, they are not. They absolutely are not. Time will tell. The game next week.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no point really getting into this just now because it's tonight. We'll wait the Celtic match against Kairat Almaty. You're then making the short hop across to the Chinese border.
I'm absolutely delighted about it.
I wanted to go, but they wouldn't let me. So
Slovan Bratislava last week, obviously in the playoff.
Who wants to go? We can go to Bratislava anytime.
I was in Pilsen watching the game come through. Absolutely, everything was crossed that it was going to be Kazakhstan. You know, because I've been there.
Because it's a great place.
I'm actually considering getting a holiday home there.
Brilliant.
It's what a place. It's phenomenal. I'm not looking forward to it, Bill.
I know you're not.
I'm not looking forward to it. I have to tell you. I tell you what,
please borrow my painkillers for the flight.
The people are wonderful. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I've been certainly in Astana, which I've been to the capital 2 or 3 times. In fact, one time I flew into Astana and they changed the name of the city before we flew back out
to Robert Grieve town.
They changed it to Nursultan before we flew home, but they've changed it back. But anyway, the people of Kazakhstan are fantastic. If you're watching this in Kazakhstan, I think you're great.
We love you.
But it's a long journey, and I'm not great in planes, as you know.
I know you're not.
So no, I have to say, it'll be fascinating to see.
However, it'll be a lot easier the journey for Celtic. If they go with a 3-0 lead.
That's going to. We don't know, as I say. We're filming this on Wednesday afternoon. Yes. We're going to the game tonight. So if you're watching this on Thursday, you'll probably know, or you will know. You will probably know what the score at Celtic got on. But yeah, that said, whatever the score is in the first leg, it's still going to be a difficult. Unless Celtic win 8-0 in the first leg, it's going to be a difficult trip. I've been there before, where Celtic have had a comfortable lead going over there.
Absolutely 5-0 last time.
And you know, and it can very quickly turn. You know, it's a passionate fan base. And the whole. The journey, the time difference, the kick-off time, everything about it is treacherous for a Scottish team.
Mind you, it's going to be something. I think for them, if they stay on we talk about we go that far out. You stay on UK time, you keep your equilibrium. If they stay on Kazakh time, they'll be kicking off at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, tonight. You know, so.
Well, that's probably why they do struggle when they go, and then it flips obviously. You know, so I think Celtic will get a convincing result in the first leg. I think Celtic will win through. I'm actually, from what I saw against Slovan Bratislava, they're not a great team, and I think Celtic are capable of dealing with them. I think relatively easily. I hope that doesn't come back to haunt them. I think they will be. I think they'll be playing Champions League football or Champions League league phase football. I think they'll get through. Yeah. But yeah, it's not. It's the last thing they needed again ahead of an Old Firm game. That trek, albeit they'll be flying in a lovely business class plane.
But it's still the same journey.
Yeah, but it's not half as bad. Trust me, I've done the journey on the team flight with Celtic and with Scotland.
The flatbed.
on the bed in the lovely, it's a long trek, but it's fine.
Aye.
But when you're flying crack of dawn Edinburgh to Istanbul, 3 hours in Istanbul, and then Istanbul to Almaty, 6-hour flights each one, that's a trek.
That's a trek.
Are you feeling sorry for me? Is anybody feeling sorry for me?
Honestly,
because I've got guys behind the
ridiculously
camera that's here laughing. I've got Mark Hanna giving me abuse yesterday. He was almost getting a bunch of fives, as my old man used to say.
What was he saying to you?
Oh, here they going to Kazakhstan. Is that right, Mark? Do one. So he was put in his place. He's sitting giggling behind the camera right now. But yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to it. I love travelling.
This is part of the adventure.
I love travelling, as you know. I always feel very fortunate, very privileged to be going away with teams, with the national team. I genuinely love it. But yeah, as you well know, me and planes...
You and planes don't really go fantastically
hand in hand. And so the prospect of 2 6-hour flights in the same day doesn't really rock my boat.
Anyway, tomorrow night, away from your traumas, we've got Aberdeen and Hibs trying to get to league stage football.
You've seen Hibs more?
Hibs a lot. I've been very impressed with Hibs. Very impressed with David Gray. The way he's managed his squad. Away in Belgrade against Partizan, I thought they were outstandingly good. And then last week, they showed a lot of character to get through the way they did.
Do you know what I thought as well? I watched the game. You were there, weren't you?
Yes.
You were at the game.
Yes.
He had a big decision to make at half time, didn't he, in that game?
We talked about it at the time, and I thought Jordan Smith showed incredible cojones coming back out.
He did.
Holding it together. A couple of bad kicks at the start of the second half. Fans were on his back. Players got round him, and he made probably 5 between the second half and into extra time. He made 5 really good stops. And it's a big shout tomorrow night. They played obviously Raphael Salinger on Sunday at Livingston in the Cup, which they had to do. I think they would have done anyway, because I think I believe he's not particularly happy at having come in and he's not playing yet. But huge call about who plays against Legia Warsaw. I think that after 10 months of the defence being solid, it's too big a gamble to put a guy in that doesn't know the patterns and the shouts and the triggers in the defence. And I would play Jordan Smith. Yeah. But it's a huge call.
I think he'll play Jordan Smith. I'll be very, very surprised if he doesn't. But as I said, half-time last week, I thought this is a big call. This is a big moment.
You were basically messaging me saying he's got to take him off.
Yeah, I actually, not so much he had to take him off, I just thought he would take him off because I thought he looked gone. But as you say, fair play to David Gray and his coaching staff, Craig Sampson and the guys on the bench for saying, no, we trust this guy. He's been a big part of the reason why we're here at this level. They trusted him, albeit at the start of the second half, there was a couple of balls his defence were playing back to him. I think the camera showed David Gray at one point who said, listen, just pack that in, just shell it, all right? Just don't go there. And there was a spell where they kept it away from him for 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. And then he made a couple of really good saves.
And then you can see him.
Pleased for him, really pleased for him.
By the way, I've spoken to him a few times. He's a tremendous boy. If people don't know about him, Jordan started at Nottingham Forest, lost his way a bit, played under Mark Warburton quite a lot, then lost his way, and did that thing where he disappeared into the loan system and the non-leagues. And before David Gray before he was brought in, and David Gray actually put him in the team last October when things were going really badly for Hibs, brought him in the middle of a crisis. He hadn't played a first team game for 2 years. That's right. And what he's done in the last 10 months to make his European debut at the age of 30, I think is remarkable, and it says a lot. And I heard a lot of people writing him off saying, I've never fancied him anyway, get him out of the team. And you forget what it takes.
Yeah, big time.
And we'll talk about someone else before we finish who it's going to take a lot to show character, to stand up against criticism. But I'm really pleased for Jordan Smith, and I hope he plays for Hibs.
I think they've got a chance of getting through as well, excuse me.
Yeah, I think so.
And the other game as well. Sorry? Aberdeen, yeah. Touch on them. I think they've been
against Steaua Bucharest and old money.
They've been doing okay, so I think they could hopefully get through as well.
I hope so. I hope they get through. I really hope they get through. I have been very perturbed by how far they've gone back. Perturbed. It's one of these things that you can't say if this hadn't happened, because it did happen. But if they don't get that late goal against Celtic and they lose the cup final 1-0, he's on a horrendous run.
And if you're granny,
I know, exactly. So they did get it, and they deserved it, and it was a magnificent time for Aberdeen all during the summer. But I thought they'd have come back off the back of that and hit the ground running, and they haven't.
They've made some big signings. You know, they're spending a bit of dough. They've showed
Dave
real
Cormack
investment.
has given him all the backing he could want, but I'm not sure. We've talked a lot about on the show about whether
This isn't a show.
about whether he's a tremendous manager who had a wee bad run last season, or whether he's a guy who had a bit of a flash in the pan run and he's now quite ordinary. I still can't work it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But I hope they get through.
good luck to both Hearts, Hibs and Aberdeen. Really do hope they get through. Something I want to mention, we've got about 5-10 minutes to go, 5 minutes maybe to go. Skye Stout.
Yes.
Skye Stout, if you're watching this, absolutely fantastic goal you scored at the weekend.
Duty.
And given the abuse and the circumstances of the last week for you, I've never been more happy probably to see a goal being scored. Young girl signs for Kamal from Celtic last week, 16-year-old, real talent. Saw some footage of some of the goals she scored. Real talent and some absolute numbskulls out there who I don't know, some of the things that get tweeted these days in social media absolutely scunners me and sickens me, you know.
It's a cesspit, isn't it?
And it is 100% a cesspit. But what a reaction from someone who's clearly made of the right stuff. You know, plays at the weekend with all that noise and all that in the background. I'm sure people know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And
Scores a tremendous
goal, and you know she's risen above it. You know, absolutely. You wrote a column about this. I know you get some feedback on it.
It's funny. I wrote a column on it on Monday. I mean, it was generally about having the character to take on, because you had the Antoine Semenyo thing at Anfield last Friday night. Then you had João Balde of East Kilbride being racially abused at the weekend when he scored the winner against Stranraer. And you've got that, and even things like Jordan Smith. You talk about character when people are right on your back.
One of a 16-year-old girl.
I know, absolutely.
What is wrong with some people?
And it's not even this isn't even somebody that these people have seen play and they go, by the way, why is she getting a contract? She's hopeless. This is because of her complexion, right? So I've written a column about it, and then I thought I stuck them up on. I don't really do a lot of social media. I put it on LinkedIn, I put it on Facebook, and I can't remember the last time there was such a reaction. And the reaction from women, especially to some that's in the football pages, was incredible, and saying this kind of thing needs to be called out. Men, and it will be generally men that have made these comments, men cannot be doing this to a young woman.
Appalling. Absolutely disgusting.
And I'll repeat now for anybody that's watching this, anybody who was out there who sent these messages, is that pretty soon Skye's complexion will clear up completely, but you will always be ugly.
Absolutely, 100%. And I was kind of conscious maybe of not speaking about this today because I've got a young daughter, and I'm trying to think, I was thinking back to maybe when she was 16, or generally when kids are that age, they maybe just want it to go away, and I hope us speaking about it today isn't the last thing that Skye wanted, but I just wanted to touch on it. I genuinely, the goal she scored, I retweeted it, I'm not huge on social media either.
It couldn't have come at half.
It was fantastic, you know, but she's got some really good people around her. I know that for a fact. Jim Chapman, come on, a great guy.
Yeah.
I know Jim. I'm sure that the people around her have been everything that she needed, but you know, I hope she's okay with what's happened in terms of realises that it's just scumbags that are out there who they shouldn't be. Don't pay any attention to them, you know. We've all dealt with criticism and that sort of thing where it's just been so bang out of order, but not at 16. I think if you've done that to a 16-year-old girl on what should have been a fantastic day for her, I think you need to look at yourself, you know, and it's absolutely disgusted me.
You seems to be, we've had horrible personal abuse at times, right? And I used to let it really, really, really get to me, and I used to try and engage with people, and I used to try and... And you can't. And eventually what you've got to realise is, and again, Skye, if you're watching this, you've got to realise it is not your problem, it's their problem. They need to deal, people who say things like this need to deal with their own issues. It's not your issue. Your issue is getting better and better as a professional footballer. Yeah, and I think there's no doubt she's going to do that because, as I say, the goal she scored, and she's clearly got so much talent, more talent than probably a little finger than these cretins who are messaging about her. Will ever have in their lives. So anyway, just want to touch on that. So good luck to Skye in the future, and Kamal, the ladies team, and all the young girls that are signing for football teams, and try to kick on and develop their skills and get better. Good luck to them all.
That's what it is for this week. I think, Bill, there's nothing else you want to touch on, is there?
Not particularly.
No.
Just great to have the team back together again.
Great to have the
Missed
team
you.
back. Great. Yeah, well, I did say that to you. You wanted to be with Roger last week. I was quite hurt, frankly, that you kicked off this new wonderful set piece.
I was told
podcast.
to. These guys behind the camera told me to.
Kicked off without me. I'm
sorry.
I was
I'm
away,
sorry.
Prague or Pilsen, where I was, and we're starting with. All right, okay, okay. But anyway, so that's us for this week. I think there's no coffee. Well, they did with coffee.
Well, we brought our own coffee down.
We
But
brought our own coffee. There's no cakes.
I know.
That's another failing in Gary and Mark. Mark, cakes for next week. One job, big man. I think we need some cakes back. What do you think?
Aye, I'm having cakes.
Let's have cakes back.
I'll bring them in.
You bring them in.
I'll bring the
We'll bring
cakes in,
cakes
mate.
back. But again, I was going to touch on as well. We had so much great feedback over the summer. Bill and I both had it from various people. Just saying they enjoyed the chat. So there's a little bit of different vibe, as you can see, as we've touched on and had a laugh about. But it's the same chat. We're going to be here every week talking about Scottish football. If you've anything you want to say, anything you want to talk to us about, mention in the comment section somewhere down there below.
And like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, as we always say as well. And good luck, as I say, to the Scottish teams in
Absolutely.
Europe. Celtic tonight, Rangers next week in the second legs. I'll be back. In fact, I'll not be here. Kazakhstan next week. It will be Roger Hanna and Mr. Leckie here next week.
I better take extra pills.
You maybe need to get your painkillers back again. But we'll catch you again next week anyway.